All right. Well, the Happy Hour Hug Nation is a little bit more relaxed and casual. Sometimes I try to touch on the same topic as we talked about earlier. I just finished editing the afternoon video, so I'm not sure if it's a good use of our time to go over it again. Then again, what's time for if not for wasting? So service is the topic of the day. And service is one of those words that when I was younger, I did not think of it as something I would strive to integrate into my life. I thought of service as a necessary evil in order to be within the category of good person. And so service or charity I associated it with the guilt factor of the kind of Judeo-Christian mindset, where we are so fortunate and there's a little bit of guilt with that, so you have to do nice things occasionally to kind of ease your conscience. And part of that was because when I was younger, I didn't do things except when I was kind of dragged to them. And also, my first job out of college, I worked with emotionally disturbed kids, and which was, in theory, a very service-oriented job. And it was so difficult for me. Not just me. The job was so difficult. The children really, the damage done to them by their parents was so significant that these kids were just violent and angry. And even after 2 years of working with them, I did very little progress. So a kid that attacked me with a fork on the first day, spit in my face on my last day. It's just so I kind of developed this worldview that service can be broken into two categories. There's light spreading and dark fighting. Dark fighting is, the Mother Teresa get down in the gutters and get food into people's hands who are struggling. And that's sometimes it's a Band-Aid kind of thing to do, but it needs to be done. Light spreading, on the other hand, is trying to change the overall societal vibration to be more loving. And I kind of decided after this painful experience working with these emotional kids that I want to be a light spreader. I don't got it in it to be a dark chaser, a dark fighter. And it was only very recently, well, actually, so I went through that. I'm a light spreader, and that was kind of my story. I'm a light spreader. I'm a light spreader. And that's kind of how I justified my very minimal efforts in terms of traditional charity things. I didn't hit much soup kitchens. And you know what? I actually got a lot of grief for that. I got a lot of people that would email me and say, I would try to be vulnerable and try to help people from uplift the spirit, and I consider that to be good work. And I got a lot of crap because people would say, you think you want to do something good, help out somebody, who's hungry. Go to a soup kitchen. I'm like, okay, well, and I would try to explain light spreading and dark fighting. And I kind of started to question that if I was really being, because maybe I was wrong. Maybe I had this feeling about inner activism was what I was doing. I was trying to get myself right inside so that when I then had something, so that my actions, whatever they would be coming from a place of love and alignment with Source. So I didn't have to like my ego brain didn't have to think, what is a good thing to do? I should feed the homeless. It was more, get myself in alignment, and then I have no choice but to do good things. Because if you're doing it from an ego, a conscious mindset, do good, then there's a good chance that action is motivated by guilt or some other negative emotion. There's a lot of people that go into charity work and nonprofits that are very negative and very suffering, and they feel like that's kind of an obligation, and that's why they're doing this work, is kind of trying to ease the guilt stuff. And I'm of the mind that the energy, the vibration of the act is more important than the act itself. And that if your vibration is pure, then no matter what you do, it is going to have positive effects. Okay, so that being said, I still avoided too much dark fighting. And it wasn't until last year at Fuente, at this camping event, a number of people I didn't know that well approached me and were very grateful that I had been pursuing this inner activism, and that by watching me kind of focus on getting true with myself, that they then decided or were given the courage or inspired to do that in themselves. And it highlighted several people's paths towards finding their purpose, and it was so awesome. And I felt really like just like this validation that this kind of intellectual idea that I was starting to worry that maybe this is just maybe I'm fooling myself. It actually there was a real positive benefit to doing that. And then it really came full circle this year with the Help the Homeless Project, and how they just kind of without any intention of like trying to do good or trying to alleviate guilt, this just very much positive experience ended up having effects that were very much dark fighting. And as I was thinking about it this afternoon, I realized, well, it's interesting because the energy that we go about Help the Homeless is not about dark fighting at all. It's all about light spreading. It's all about connecting with people and bonding and being open-hearted and seeing them as valuable people, not about trying to clothe the people who need it and get food and the hungry and lifting the downtrodden. That's not the energy at all. And so it was like, oh wow, how cool. So this theory of interactivism, at least from my understanding so far, is working. Where I can focus on simply trying to be pure, trying to be in alignment, trying to do what feels right from a joyful place, and the effect of it ends up having both light spreading and dark fighting effects. Woo! Service without sacrifice. That has been one of my mantras over the last year, and it's something that I didn't think was possible. I thought service is something that you kind of owed, and now I think it's something that I seek. Belicious last night was running around and didn't have a lot of time, and ended up I offered to go to IKEA to pick up something she needed, and she was feeling really guilty about having to, and I was like, look, please. And later that night, she was thanking me in a glorious method of thanking, so thank you for that. But when she was thanking me, I kind of stopped her and said, when I was doing this for you, my thought was not, I'm doing something, I'm doing this chore, in some sort of, payment or, earnings points thing. My thought was, this is great. What an awesome use of my time. I get to do something nice for someone I care about. And that's the same thing that has kind of started to sink into any sort of service. Is Esta in here? I got a call from Esta the other morning, and her son needed someone to help him get some gas on the side of the road. And it was like, I was like, how perfect. I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my day, and now I have an opportunity to serve, to do something nice for someone else. It is such a huge shift in my head of starting to see opportunities for service as being the best way that I can spend my time. It makes me feel good. It feels like a productive thing. And it just, I don't know, it's like, it goes back to the gifting thing of make positive. It just uplifts the overall vibration. Sometimes when people, lately, especially as people have seen from the outside, they look at the Help the Homeless stuff, and they give me these, oh, thank you so much for everything you're doing. And I'm just like, you're welcome. But really, I'm stoked to have the opportunity. And I think if you joined us, you'd enjoy it. It's not like we're doing it for you. So, yes, you're welcome. You can go enjoy your, the couch and watch the game. But we're going to go sacrifice and be with people. It's like, that's not the attitude at all. It's just like, all right. Sweet. It's fun, and it's good. It's light. It bites dark. Boom. Big-hearted. So, service, when I was making the list of the topics that I wanted to include for these talks, service was one of the first ones I thought about because I recognized that it guides so much. And I think one of the reasons is because as I age and I think grow wiser, I recognize more and more that I don't know anything. And so the idea of trying to make things happen from my ego brain of what I think is right, making plans or whatever like that, becomes less and less, I have less and less confidence in those types of plans. But when I can act from a place of service to a higher idea, ideal, to source, to love, if I can be acting from a place of service, it's like, suddenly, how can you not be living your purpose when you're of service? And what feels better than living your purpose? What a turnaround from thinking that, like, this is something I have to do out of guilt to thinking, like, yay, an opportunity to serve, whee! So, thank you for allowing me to serve.